So you did mention that you are a leukemia survivor. Can you tell us about your journey as a cancer survivor?
I mean, you know, it, it was hard, obviously. You know, I was so young, I was 6, that I didn't really understand fully the totality of what was going on at
Mm-hmm.
that time. I knew I was sick. I knew I had a lot of things wrong with me. Um, and I went through a lot of things with the procedures that they went through and that they put me through, the treatments that they put me through, that were hard, and you know you can't imagine a 6-year-old going through that kind of stuff. But I had great parents that were very good at making all of what I was going through seem normal. Like, this is just you're going to the doctor. This is just you going to the doctor. This is just you going to the doctor. And they were very good at downplaying the severity of what was going on and just saying, hey, as long as you take this medicine, as long as you go and do this test, you'll be fine. And so I think that mindset of me knowing that, you know, there's nothing really wrong with me, I think that's what carried me, that just not dwelling on the fact that I was in pretty bad shape. That plus some good genetics, I think, helped me get through those times. But, you know, once the leukemia was done and everything like that, I did have to deal with looking different, sounding different, having different abilities than everybody else. And I had a community that was really good in Carthage at accepting me for who I was and not treating me any different than anybody else. So growing up, it wasn't that hard to deal with all the things that I had to deal with. Now, being an adult, that's then a different story, because once you get outside that bubble, you realize that the world sometimes doesn't care about you very much.
Right.
You have to be ready for that, and that was the adjustment. I think that was really the adjustment. Once I got out of college and kind of got outside my community and put myself in the world, I think that was the big adjustment. And it's been an adjustment, but it's normal now.
And so, mentally speaking, like you mentioned earlier, you don't sweat the small stuff, and that's as a direct result of your surviving leukemia. So,
Right.
mentally speaking, nowadays, as an adult and a successful adult, in a high powered job, some would say, mentally speaking, how are you? Just with your day to day mental health.
It, it can be a struggle, uh, not because of my health. Just, my job and my career are very stressful. Um, Sometimes I'll tell my wife, I'm like, I don't know why I became an attorney because it's so stressful day in and day out. Um, so that's a bit of a struggle sometimes dealing with that. Um, Other than that, I mean, I'm pretty even keeled. I still don't sweat a bunch of small things. If we have challenges that come up, I know that it'll be hard for a little bit, and then it'll be okay. And
Right.
that's just a mantra that has carried through, all the way through childhood. It's only going to suck for a little bit, and then once it's over, you'll be fine. And so that's how I view, every challenge that comes along.
And that's probably a direct result from being 6 years old and essentially being a badass and surviving what no kid should ever have to go through. Um,
Right.
One of the things that I admire about you, Ross, is how you handle bullies and trolls and stuff like that on the internet.
Yeah.
And I mean, the internet is so ugly and negative at times, but I would love to hear your mindset when it comes to the ugliness that you have to deal with on the daily. Like, what do you, how do you go about that?
I ignore most of it because I don't understand. I don't understand bullying on the internet. It takes more effort and more brain power to sit there and write out an insult to somebody than to just scroll past whatever it is that you're
Yeah,
seeing.
I know. It's crazy.
And I don't understand trolls because anytime they comment or say something on a post, that just boosts that post
It
and
helps
makes it
you. Right, it helps you. Yeah.
right. And I tell people all the time, I said, I love the fact that these people come on and say these mean things because it's like they're my own rocket fuel. They're just boosting
Hmm.
my position with the algorithm. So that's one reason I usually go and goad them. I want them to respond. I want a
Same.
back and forth. That conversation is just going to boost the algorithm. But my mindset, whenever I do go after some of these people, is you know, I think it was Aslan from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe that yelled at the White Queen and said, "Don't quote the ancient magic to me, which I was there when it was written." I'm an old school troll. I I was trolling on the internet back when the internet was still chat rooms. Um,
Right. AOL.
I, I remember very clearly back in college, I'd go into sex chat rooms and I would change the topic of conversation from sex to donuts, and it would piss people off to no end. So like that, just the mindset of me just kind of being an asshole on the internet when I was younger, I take that to these people. They don't know that they're trolling a troll. And so whenever I go after them and I hit them back with something, they are a lot of times they don't know how to handle that because a lot
Hmm.
of people that get bullied on TikTok, they just either block them or they roll with the punches. They don't punch back. And
Hmm.
sometimes you gotta box these people in the ears to let them know that don't screw around with me. I will come at you.
Yep, they don't know how to deal with it when you meet their energy at all, do they?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So one
That's
of the
that's the